best thing is, I guess, you got a nucleus back, a lot of experience. A year ago, you really couldn't say that.
Right, we've got a good nucleus of kids back. I like our experience. I like our motivation level. All fall long, they've been working extremely hard in the weight room and during our workouts, our individual workouts. Excited about the season. They're a really good bunch of kids to deal with. They're a close-knit unit, and I think we've got some great team chemistry. So I'm excited about the beginning of the year.
You finished great last year, obviously. You got to Omaha.
It was a little bit of a bumpy ride at times during the regular season. Do you think maybe you're expecting a little different ride because of the experience, because of what was gained last year?
I hope so. Because the middle of the season was a little bit bumpy for us, but kids played extremely well down the stretch and played great in tournaments. So really proud of them, and I'm hoping that we can just really be consistent from start to finish this year. And the experience level and the fact that we've got some guys that have been out on the field before in those situations, we'll be able to be a little bit more consistent during the course of the year. You know, the really only question mark I have in my mind is about the bats, and that is knowing what your offense will produce. If we had last year's bats, I'd have a really good feel of what our offense is going to produce. But I'm going to have to see how the season unfolds. We're going to have to play good defense, pitch very well, execute, do all the little things it takes to score runs when you're happy.
Coach, I was at Western Carolina yesterday talking to them. They said there's not a day that goes by that you don't have an effect on their program. Can you talk about that honor from the Catamounts?
Well, that's nice to hear. You know, I mean, that's a tremendous compliment. I spent 9 great years up there of my life. The kids were born up there. We had some successful years, had some great coaches come through that were helping me, and some great players, and a lot of really good teams. And it's a very special place in my heart. I'm looking forward to going up there during the banquet that they're having, and certainly appreciate the honor that's coming my way. I'm not sure I deserve it all, but at least I want them to know how much I appreciate it. And it's a special part of my baseball career has been up at Western Carolina University. I'm looking forward to going back, and I truly appreciate what they're doing.
Coach, you've got a new addition to the staff, and Coach LaCroix, and he was obviously at Western Carolina for a while too. Can you just talk about what he brings to the staff?
Well, Bradley is, he's a guy we've always had an eye on because he was a good player for us and a very good teammate. And he was also an assistant coach here for a few years before he went off to Anderson in Western Carolina, University of Tennessee. And has always been a good friend. Always enjoyed coaching him when he was here. Hated to lose TR, but he's on to a great challenge over at Winthrop, and we wish him well. Got a great relationship with him, and when we had the opportunity to get to another assistant coach, Bradley's name popped up for sure right in the forefront, and he's fit very well in quickly. He's got a great personality. Kids love him. Hard worker, great recruiter, and we're going to do a real good job with our hitters. He and Michael Johnson work extremely hard with our hitters. I'm involved as well, but he does a great job with it. He'll work with our outfielders, and just got a real good knowledge of everything that's happening on the field, so he's a great addition.
Is this a good lineup to change hitting coaches with, so to speak? In other words, do you think they'll adapt pretty easily?
Yeah, if you're a hitter, you're a hitter. We work on the same things last year we did year before, and this year that we did last year, pretty much. Got some new drills, new things to work on, but overall, the repetition is always going to be there, the fundamentals are always going to be there, the execution expectations are always going to be there. So it's basically the same type of hitting philosophy we've always had, and we've got to put the ball in play, we've got to utilize our speed, we've got to run the bases very well, we've got to be able to handle the bunt game offensively and defensively. Don't want to strike out, be tough at the plate, make every at-bat a tough one for the pitcher. And these new bats can be less fly balls, going to hit less fly balls, more line drives, more ground balls.
Is the concern with the hitting based on losing the power presence in right field? I mean, that would be pretty obvious.
Well, Kyle obviously is a good player. We miss him and miss his presence, and Will. But Will Boyd was a great player for us, and we had some other guys who are going to miss out that team. Casey Harmer's another one. Mike Freeman had a tremendous year for us, and he was a great player for us. But we've got some good kids come back, and it's the value of our program is we've always got some guys waiting to show what they can do, so there'll be some other guys get an opportunity. Will Lamb will play a lot more offensively for us than maybe what he did last year, and still pitch. And then Richie Schaefer's back at first base. We got Brad Miller, Schultz, and John John Henson and Schaus and Epps and Will Lamb, as I mentioned before, Keeble and Paul behind the plate. So we've got some experience, and we just got to put the right piece of the puzzle on the field at the right time and play hard every night, and hopefully have an opportunity to win every ball game.
Obviously, you want to get to Omaha every year, but how much does the way last year ended motivate you guys coming in this season?
Well, every year motivates me the same. You know, if you don't win the last ball game of the year, and you got something to shoot for, there's a higher level to shoot for. So we're out here practicing just as hard coming off of last year as we did the year before that. And you know, we had a taste of it, which is always a good thing, which means you've got the experience of knowing what it takes to be there and what you got to do. And you know, hopefully get 1 or 2 more hits at the right time and you know, change the result at the very end in a better way for us. But these kids worked extremely hard last year. Extremely proud of how they played and how they represented the university and the school and the baseball program. And we're going to go back at it again and keep on trying to knock at that door, get out there, and try to do some damage in the new stadium out there.
One of the lineups I've seen had Chris in center and Will in right, and I've heard that you might flip-flop them some. Have you settled on that yet?
Well, where did you see that lineup? It didn't come from me.
Oh, that's what I'm asking.
You know, we're in the infant phases of putting together our team, but you know, I can see Abs playing right field and Lamb in center. I could see it vice versa, I guess, either way. The thing about our team is that we've got a lot of versatility. The guys can play all the outfield positions. Our infielders can move all around the infield. We've got some options that we're, you know, kind of try to look at in the next few weeks to try to figure out what our best group of offensive and defensive players together at one time on the field and in the lineup can be. And so we got some things to work through, but you know, it doesn't really matter to me where they play, and I don't think it matters to them where they play. I think they just want to get on the field and help the team win, and it's a very unselfish group. So we'll figure that out, and we'll make sure the guys in the right spot, and that they're prepared to play those spots before it's all over.
It sounds pretty evident that you want Will Lamb on the field as much as you can get him out there.
I think so. He's one of our better athletes. He runs very well. He's an excellent base runner, base stealer. So I think it just makes sense to try to get him out there as often as we possibly can. And he's also got a good arm, so we got to take that into consideration. We don't have that many left-handed pitchers, and so he's got to be a factor that way as well for us. But I think overall, you're going to see him play more and be on the field a lot more.
Wiseman looks like your #1 guy, but how's the rest of the rotation look for you guys in terms of weekend?
Still got a lot of things to work through, but Dominic Leone's been throwing well. He had a good year for us last year, pitching some big games. Will Lamb's going to do some pitching for us. Kevin Brady has looked good for us with Alex Frederick back in the relief role. You know, we've got some, you know, Kevin Poley, a freshman, who's got a chance to pitch for us a little bit. Justin Surratt's back. He wasn't with us last year with the injury. He's going to provide some innings for us. David Hazelton, you know, is going to be a year better than he was last year at this time. And so we've got some guys to choose from. It's just a matter of us, you know, putting them all together and giving them opportunities in the next 3 weeks to show what they can do, and then it'll all work out in the wash.
Do you think some potential breakout guys are after full practice?
I like John McGibbon as a freshman, first baseman, outfielder type kid. He's a hard worker, tough kid. Mike Dunster swings got a lot better as an infielder. As a backup infielder for us. Stevie Wilkerson's a good player. He can play infield for us. Phil Paul had a good fall for us, so we expect some good things out of him and hope he can contribute in a real positive way for us. Spencer's keeper looks like a year better, not only behind play, but as an offensive player. And you know, those are the guys. You know, it's Jason Stoltz, when he gets some offense out of him, because he's a really good defensive player. And so we want to try to get him on the field as often as possible, and keep his offensive side of things going for him. And then I guess just pitching wise, I mentioned Kevin Poley is a guy we've got to keep an eye on. I think as a freshman, and there'll be some other guys emerge as we go along.
Are you locked into Miller Stoltz short second, or is that still fluid?
We'll continue to take a look at it. But right now, if I had to start a game today, I'd have John Henson out of third base, and Richard over first base, and Miller at short, and Stoltz at second. And because I think that's our best offensive lineup, and I think it's our best defensive lineup, but it's replaceable. Stoltze can always move back to shortstop. Brad is more of a shortstop than he is a second baseman or third baseman, in my opinion. So I'd like to see him, really do a good job for us at shortstop. He's a lot, more consistent, I think, this fall. I think he's working really hard on his defense, and he looks a lot better that way. So I expect some really good things. He's tremendously athletic. So I think it's just a matter of him getting that consistency that he's capable of, and Stoltze can make all the plays that Mike Freeman did for us last year, and Mike had a heck of a year for us, and he's a tremendous defensive player, and so there's a lot of action that happens at second base. The ball's up the middle, turning double plays, starting double plays, finishing double plays, balls on the glove side, the pitcher's coming first base, fly balls over the top, all those things that Mike did extremely well. Stoltze's capable of doing those things. Steve Wilkerson's a good little player. And so I think we'll find the right combination in the infield there, and I feel real comfortable. John Henson's getting better all the time over at third base, and Schaefer is just a good athlete and getting better every day out here, and he's a really good-looking first baseman for us.
The importance of stronger defense with the new bats.
Well, I've always stressed defense. I've always thought defense, I don't care if you're playing with, composite bats or bamboo shoots, defense is a really important deal, and you can't give the other team more outs than they deserve. You got to be prepared for every situation. Defense is a huge deal, throwing strikes, keeping runners off base. So pitching and defense will always be the same regardless of what kind of bat you use, but it may end up looking like it's more important to someone in the stands. It's always been important to me, but it may look like it's more important to somebody in the stands because the games may be a little bit quicker, they may be a little bit more precise, and there might be more bunting, more hit and run, more execution type things that have to happen because the long ball is not going to be as big a factor.
Is Frederick a candidate for closing games, particularly after how he closed last season?
He's certainly a possibility. Kevin Brady's a possibility. Lamb's a possibility. If you don't start him, he plays more often in the outfield. So, and Joe Moorfield had a good fall for us. So there's 4 guys right there that I can see pitching in those roles if need be. So we're going to work our way through that in the next few weeks.
You haven't had great luck with the draft in recent years, but what did it mean for you to get Henson and Schaus back after they were drafted and had a chance to leave?
Well, it was huge, to have Chris Epps come back for his 4th year, to have him show back up, to have Schaus come back, to have John Henson come back, to have Justin Surratt come back after he's graduated for his 5th year to help us out. Real big keys. Real big keys. Gives us some experience, gives us some really good players at those positions, and I'm just glad they're back in school. I think they're extremely glad they're back in school, and we got their degrees in front of them. They're having a great time with their teammates, and it's a great place for them to be, and I think they're really excited about it.